Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Mahimi, and today we are from UK are going to present our group project, which is deepfake detection. So without further ado, let's begin. So we are concentrate on technology known as deepfake, as our slide indicates. Artificial AI is the fundamental component of deepfake technology, which produces incredibly lifelike but completely fraudulent pictures and videos. It's frequently impossible for someone to determine whether or not what they are seeing is real because the results can be so convincing. This poses a significant and expanding issue. The capacity to produce cohesive feeds can be abused for fraudulent ends. This includes disseminating false information that could sway public opinion or even elections, like for the video purporting to show a politician say something they never said. Identity identity fraud is another use for it, in which a person's image is taken and used for harassment or scam. In the end, the extensive use of deepfakes caused a risky decline in public confidence in digital media. So our team's goal for this project was to develop a system that can automatically identify and generate image in order to overcome this difficulty. We have decided to employ a particular type of deep learning model known as sequential convolutional neural network or CNN. CNN are very effective at analyzing visual data, which is why we select them. They can learn to spot the minute nearly undetectable irregularities and artifacts that AI image generators frequently leave behind. Hints that are too integrate for the human eye to detect a clear sign of fake. Essentially, our project aims to develop a defensive tool that can counter the threat posed by the malicious use of modern AI. Now, let's explore our methodology. Here, we describe, we describe how we start to transform our concept into a functional model. We divide this into two crucial initial phases, data augmentation and data processing. So for data processing, data is the cornerstone of any machine learning endeavor. We use the deepfake and real image dataset from Kaggle, a well-known public resource for our project. This gives us a sizable and well-rounded set of real and AI-generated photos to use for system testing and training. So, resizing every image to a standard 64 times 64 pixel size was an important preprocessing step. This is primarily done to control the computational complexity. Training can be extremely slow when dealing with large high resolution image because they demand a significant amount of memory and processing power. While maintaining the key characteristic required for detection, resizing greatly improves process efficiency and enables us to train and refine our model more quickly. So for data augmentation part, data augmentation is the second stage and is question one. We didn't use our data exactly as it was once we had it. We alter the pictures in a number of random ways. This covers the operations such as flipping an image horizontally, shifting it, zooming in or out, and slightly rotating it. So why we do this? This method is an effective way to avoid overfitting, a common issue in machine learning. In instance, overfitting occurs when the model begins to memorize the particular training data rather than identifying the broad patterns. When faced with a new custom image, a model that has just memorized will perform poorly, but it will perform flawlessly on the data it has already been. We are essentially growing our data set and teaching the model what a fake or real face looks like under different perspectives by presenting it with this slightly modified version. This compares it to acquire the fundamental underlying characteristic, which improves its ability to generalize to previously unseen image. Now let's move on to the third and more complex step in our process, which is Fourier transform feature extraction. Although data augmentation aids in the generalization of our model, we wanted to give it an advantage by focusing on the process of creating deepfakes. We use a three-step procedure to accomplish this. We start by converting the picture to grayscale. By eliminating color information, this makes the issue simpler and enables us to concentrate only on the structure and texture of the image, which are where these frequency artifacts are located. The fast Fourier transform is the second tool we use. In a sense, this is a powerful mathematical tool that allows us to change our perspective. The FT enables us to view the image as a combination of various frequencies rather than as a grid of pixels. This is the crucial step that allows our program to see those hidden patterns. Thirdly, we employ a low-pass filter. As the name suggests, this filter filters out high-frequency signals while letting low-frequency ones flow through. We do this because this low-frequency bands frequently contain the most revealing deepfake artifacts. Isolating them effectively increase the evidence of a fake and facilitates our model's detection. Therefore, we are not asking our model to solve a problem by feeding it this frequency focus, especially processes image. Now, our model is now for the model architecture. Our model is a sequential and as you can see, sequential simply means that the data passes through it layer by layer in a straight line. This CNN was especially great to examine the frequency data that we had previously extracted. Let's examine the path record by a single image as it goes through our model. First, the input. A typically photograph is not seen by the model. The 64 times 64 single channel or grayscale FFT image is sent to it. We work to create this frequency map, which we think contains the most important hints. It then passes through two pooling and convolutional layers. Consider this to be in the eyes of the model. In order to identify significant patterns and features, the main artifacts produced by the AI generator, the convolutional layers the frequency map. This data is then reduced by the pooling layers, which improves the model's efficiency by retaining only the most important features. The flattened layer comes next. Our data remains in a 2D grid format following the convolutional layers. As the name suggests, the flattened layer turns this 2D feature map into a single one-dimensional line or vector. Preparing the data for the network's decision-making component requires this step. A dense layer receives this vector. Consider this layer, which has 128 neurons and is fully connected to the brain of our model. In order to perform the final classification, it begins learning the intricate relationship between all of the abstract features. We then apply a drop-up layer, which is crucial. Overfitting is a serious issue, as we have already discussed. Our second line of defense is the drop-up layer. It turns off half of the neurons at random during training. This forces the model to learn more resilient general patterns and keeps it from depending too much on any one feature. At last, we arrive at the output layer. One neuron with a sigmoid activation function makes up this layer. This layer's result is condensed into a single number between 0 and 1 by the sigmoid function. This figure is interpreted as a probability. The model is very certain that image is a fake or it is real. This provides us with a straightforward binary response. So this is our coding for the model architecture. We have now planned every step of our pipeline, from data preparation to model architecture construction. For the training, the last phase in our process is where the real learning takes place. We must compile the model that is established guidelines for its learning before we can begin training. We select the Adam optimizer, a well-liked and very successful algorithm that adds the model in self-correction and effective error learning. We employ the binary cost entropy loss function to direct this learning process. To put it simply, this function serves as a teacher. It determines a penalty score for each prediction based on how inaccurate the model was. This loss function is the ideal tool for the job because our problem is a binary choice, real or fake. During training, the model's sole objective is to minimize this penalty score. So how we can access is effectiveness. Our primary performance metric is accuracy. Even though the loss function is much the burden on how to get better, this is simple. It's the proportion of photos that the model accurately identifies as authentic or fraudulent. It provides us with an easy to understand method of monitoring its performance. Now let's talk about the actual training procedure. For 10 approach, we use our prepared training data to train the model. One full run through the entire data set is called an approach. This model's learning is reinforced when it goes through the data several times and sees the patterns repeatedly. This model examines 32 images at the time before adjusting its internal parameters because we use a batch size of 32. Most significantly, we employ a validation set during this procedure. The model is never trained on this distinct set of data. We evaluate the model's performance on this validation set at the end of each input. It serves as our vital safeguard against overfitting. We can tell that the model is merely memorization and not error learning if it improves on the training data, but deteriorates on the validation data. We will able to guarantee the accuracy and generalizability of our final model thanks to this monitoring. So that's all from my part.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Now, I will be presenting our work on deepfake detection or AI generated image detection model. We will walk through a detailed analysis of its performance, discuss the factors that influence its results, and showcase how we have made this technology accessible through a public deployment. Our goal is to not only build an effective model, but also understand the strengths, weaknesses, and how to improve the model. So now let's start with the discussion on our results. Okay, let's break down the model's performance across 3 key stages of the evaluation. Okay, so let's look at training. The model reached a final accuracy of 81.98%. More importantly, the training loss, which measures how wrong the model's predictions are, saw a significant drop from 0.64% from 0.64 to 0.4, which is excellent. It tells us that the model was successful in learning the underlying patterns in the data we provided. Next, we have validation, okay, which is our first check on how the model performs on data it hasn't seen during training. On validation, the model achieved even higher accuracy of 83.78%. This indicates a good ability to generalize. However, we did notice some significant fluctuations in accuracy from one epoch to the next, which is a hint that the model might be slightly unstable or beginning to overfit. Finally, we have the test results, which is our ultimate measure of real-world performance. The accuracy is 81.98%. However, the test loss was quite high, at over 40%. This discrepancy is important. It suggests that while the model gets the right answer most of the time, the predictions it makes might not be very confident. This generalization gap between training and testing is exactly what we need to address in future work. As you can see from the graph, the more epoch it goes through, the more training we give the model, the higher the accuracy. So the training is successful, and also the validation graph is high from the start, which means that our training is effective, and the higher we train, the higher the validation goes. Although there is some discrepancy in epoch, as I've described earlier. This graph gives us a visual story of the learning process over 10 training epochs. On the right, you can see the accuracy curve. The blue line represents training accuracy and the orange line is validation accuracy. Both are trending upwards, which is exactly what we want to see. The model is learning. However, notice the gap that develops between the two lines. The validation accuracy is a bit more erratic and doesn't perfectly track the training accuracy. This is classic sign of potential overfitting, where the model is learning the training data a little too well. So on the left, we have the loss curves. Again, we see a healthy downtrend, but it's the same thing. The validation loss has some discrepancy and is higher than the training loss, reinforcing the idea that the model's performance on unseen data, although good, isn't as perfect as its performance on the data it was trained on. So for our model, what is the secret sauce in our image preparation? What differentiates our model from other models? Okay, we use a technique called FFT, or fast Fourier transform, low band filtering. To put it simply, FFT is like a way to deconstruct an image into different frequencies, like an audio equalizer that separate bass, mid and treble. High frequencies correspond to sharp edges, noise and fine textures. Low frequencies represent the broad shapes, lighting and overall structure. Our hypothesis was that many deepfake artifacts are subtle. There are structural inconsistencies found in this low frequency band. So by filtering out the high frequency noise, we help the model focus the attention on what actually matters. As you can see, the side-by-side comparison, the filtered image is blurrier, but the core essence of the face is preserved. The pre-processing step is likely play a key role in helping our model achieve 82% accuracy by making the distinguishing features between real and fake images more prominent. So now we are evaluating our performance, our strengths and weaknesses. So why only 82% and not higher? So accuracy of 82% is very strong start, but for a critical task like deepfake detection, we want to push the number higher, like 90%. Our analysis points that 3 probable reasons why the performance is currently at this level. First, potential class imbalance. In many real-world datasets, there are far more real images than fake ones. If our dataset reflects this, the model might develop a bias, learning that it's safer to guess real more often. The high test loss we saw earlier could be a symptom of this, as the model would heavily penalize if it incorrectly classified the rare fake image, for example. Second is possible model overfitting. As we saw in the learning curve, the model might be memorizing the training data rather than learning abstract rules for spotting fake image. This means it performs well on data similar to the training set, but when faced with a new set of data, it struggles. And third, the limitations of our FFT filtering. Although our FFT is powerful, the method can be double-edged sword. In filtering out high-frequency noise, we might be accidentally discarding tiny pixel clues or compression artifacts that may be crucial for identifying certain types of deepfakes. It's a trade-off, and one we need to investigate further. So how do we improve? One of the ways that we can improve is on data handling and metrics. Okay, so beyond the model itself, we need to improve how we handle our data and how we measure success. Okay, to combat class imbalance, we plan to implement a technique called SMOTE, SMOTE, which stands for Synthetic Minority Over Sampling Technique. Instead of just duplicating the fake images, SMOTE intelligently creates new believable synthetic examples of fakes. This gives the model a more balanced and robust dataset to train on, forcing the model to learn the features of the minority class properly and not memorizing. We will also expand our evaluation metrics. Accuracy can be misleading with imbalanced data. Therefore, we will incorporate precision, recall, and F1 score. For deepfake detection, recall is especially critical. It answers the question, of all the fakes out there, how many did we successfully catch? We want the number to be as high as possible. Model that sits on hard drive is just an academic exercise. To make our work more impactful, we deployed it for public use. For this, we chose Hugging Face Spaces, a leading platform for hosting and sharing interactive machine learning applications. We use a framework called Gradio to build the web interface, which is known for the simplicity and ease of use. So the deployment process was actually pretty straightforward and involved 3 steps. First, we exported the model, saving our trained TensorFlow model in standard .keras format. Next, we set up the Hugging Face space. This involves creating a new project, uploading our model file, Python script needed for FFT preprocessing, and requirements.txt file that tells the server which libraries like TensorFlow and OpenCV need to be installed. Finally, we developed UI using Gradio. We wrote a simple Python script to create the interface you will see in a moment, complete with image upload box, submit button, and a space to display the results. So now this is our model that we have published in Hugging Space. Okay, so to demonstrate, we have searched in Google an image of Donald Trump that is generated using AI and image of Donald Trump real image. Okay, so let's try. We have already downloaded it. Let's try to upload. This is the fake image. Okay, let's submit. And as you can see, our model accurately predicted that the image is AI generated or deepfake. So the next image is the real image of Donald Trump. Let's try uploading this image. So let's submit. As you can see, our model accurately predicts that it's real. So I think that's all from my part. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Aiman bin Abdul Razak. Number metric is 2312215. Okay, I will present about conclusion. Okay, for the conclusion, this project is successful address the critical problem of deepfake image detection by implementation CNN solution using Python programming language. Our team identify the growing threat of AI generated image in digital media and develop an effective system to combat this challenge through advanced machine learning technique. Okay, next part is learning outcome. Through this project, our team gained valuable experience in applying critical thinking to AI application, specifically in the domain of computer vision and deepfake detection. We learned to integrate multiple AI techniques effectively, combining CNN architecture with signal processing method to solve the real-world problem. The project enhanced our understanding of deep learning implementation in Python. For data processing to model deployment. Key insights gain include the importance of frequency domain analysis in detecting synthetic image, the challenge of balancing model complexity with generalization, and the practical consideration involved in deploying AI system for public use. We also learn about the iterative nature of machine learning development and the significance of proper evaluation metric in assessing model performance. Okay, next part is future work and improvement. For this project, we can advance architecture explosion of pre-trained models such as ResNet, VGG16, or Vision Transformer. Through transfer learning could potentially improve our accuracy, which is at the 81.98. Next, we can enhance evaluation by implementation of comprehensive evaluation metric, including precision, recall, F1 score, and ROC AUC analysis that can provide deeper insight into model performance. Particularly important given the binary classification nature of deepfake analysis detection. Next, we can improve the dataset expansion. With working with larger and more diverse dataset, it including different type of AI generated content, not just facial image that we use for the project. It can improve the model generalization and robustness. Next, real-time processing. By optimization for faster interference times and mobile deployment to enable the real-time deepfake detection on various platforms. Lastly, we can improve by multi-model detection, which is integration of temporal analysis for video deepfake detection and audio visual synchronization assessment, not only focusing on image. Okay, that's all from me.